What's up, everyone? This is Ernest Dove from the New York Mets Dove Report, giving you a rapid reaction to the trade of the Mets to the White Sox to acquire Luis Robert. I want to talk about a couple of things on the prospect as well as the positional player that the White Sox are getting. I also want to talk about the impact that this may have, even for better and slightly for worse of sorts, for the Mets' top prospects based on this trade. Now, first and foremost, what are the White Sox getting? Well, they're getting Luis Angel Acuna, who is the Barry Bonds of winter ball, but here's some of the things. Offensively, it looks like there may be a switch to his plate approach that is working to generate more fly balls of sorts for sure, as Luis Angel Acuna is hitting home runs every 2 or 3 games through winter ball, through the playoffs, which is exciting to see for him and even for the White Sox. What's the negative or possible opposite side of those things? Well, I understand it's the opposing competition. It's a slightly lower competition. I've seen people describe that particular winter ball league maybe even more being in the high A level, maybe double A level, not really sure as far as the level of competition and the pitchers that he's facing. But again, this could also be a change of approach for an elite prospect with really good development who has slowed, possibly because of different changes in approach. Let's see if the new power outage can kind of show itself even more for a guy who could, of course, play second, short, third. He can also play center field and technically replace a Louis Robert in center field if that's what they want him to do full-time or part-time. As far as the pitcher they're getting, Truman Pauly, he looks like a kind of a project arm that the Mets drafted over slot, by the way. So good news for White Sox. This is a guy who was taken over slot by the Mets. They believed in his swing and miss stuff. Looks like his fastball can touch into the mid-90s. I believe he also has more of a sweeper and a changeup. But again, this is a swing and miss guy. That's something that they like, as well as, or as opposite to, walk rate. It seems like the Mets have been the kings of drafting and acquiring guys with high K rates, high walk rates. This looks like another one of those guys. So a guy like Pauly, as far as a projection future-wise, they could possibly fast-track him, get him up to the system. Maybe he could even end the year at least in Double A in 2026. Determining by the walk rate and the pitch consistency, that will determine if he could remain or be a starting pitcher in pro ball, or do the White Sox now look to transition him as a bulk reliever? That's something that they'll have to determine and discuss. Now, what are the Mets getting? They're getting a really good, skilled, high-end center field first defender. That's exciting news, even though you know how I feel about certain top prospects that I'll get into. But they're going to get a guy with defense and speed and power. So what do we have? Consider it the replacement for Siri, if that makes you feel better. That's definitely an upgrade. But as far as impacts on the top prospects, I have two already in my head. Number one, Carson Bench. Does this mean that Carson Bench may or will now break camp in Syracuse? Possibly now this is more likely. Why not? Depending on how he does in spring, they might want to have him break camp no matter what, but this allows the possibility of letting Carson Bench get more seasoning now in Syracuse just to make sure, which of course would make Tyrone Taylor more of an everyday player still for a while. That can freak some people out, but then think of the defense if they want to figure that out. With Taylor and Robert in the outfield together, that sounds like run prevention. So that could be a good idea. What it also means on the reverse, possibly, you let go of a guy like Acuna, who's next man up that plays all of his positions? That would be top 50 MLB prospect Jet Williams, who did improve last season defensively up the middle. Does this mean that Jet Williams is now going to be part of the organization going forward? Maybe they won't trade him now as the backup everything in the infield and another guy who can spell people in center field. Obviously, I know you have a guy like Bo Bichette for the 2026 season that can move around as a need, including shortstop, but why not have a top prospect waiting in the wings now to kind of take over and also have options? Luis Angel Acuna is out of options. Jet Williams will have plenty of them. when and if he does get called up as soon as 2026. So that could be an actual positive thing for him above everyone else. How does it slot in the rest of the prospects? Again, I've been saying probably all winter since he was Rule 5 protected, Nick Morabito can also be the backup outfielder for everyone during the year. Honestly, not sure how soon Nick Morabito will be ready and Major League ready. He definitely needs AAA at-bats, probably a lot of them. So I really wouldn't expect him under normal, healthy circumstances from the team. I probably wouldn't see him till the bare minimum summer, even if they wanted to call him up at all in 2026. Those are my thoughts. Those are my opinions. You guys let me know. Are you angry about Louis Robert? Because guess what? What if we get a full-blown season similar to Javi Baez post-trade deadline in a Mets uniform? Is that possible? For a guy who in the second half in 2025, he put up 298, 352, 456 slugging, 806 OPS. If Luis Robert can put up anywhere near an 800 OPS with his defense and speed, you're going to accept the deal and be happy with it. So are you? Let me know in the comments, and let me know if you think these top prospects are going to be hurt or helped by this trade immediately. Thank you, guys.